Mr. Brief.
Okay, perfect. Sadly, I'm not shocked by the crises in our communities, and I say our communities because the First Nation people throughout Treaty 3 are not just constituents; they're family. I've worked in a past life with Grand Council Treaty 3, and I know the huge issues in terms of health and how they're wrapped up in all other kinds of issues. They're wrapped up in economic development. They're wrapped up in the justice system. You just look at the problems in our communities, and it seems like an enormous task for anybody to start solving these problems. I know Minister Hoskins from the Ontario government and Minister Philpott met with Chief Fiddler, or Grand Chief Fiddler, and Regional Chief Day. Can you tell the committee what positive outcomes came from those meetings and what you see as missing from their commitments?
Miguel, thank you for your question. In February, on February the 25th, we issued a declaration, an emergency on health and public health in the territory. And the reason why we did that was because of all the stories that you heard here today. And then 3 weeks, I think, after we made that declaration, we had that meeting with Minister Philpott and also Minister Hoskins in Toronto to talk about our declaration and what we can do to address the issues that were contained in that emergency declaration. So we've agreed on a number of points in terms of how we should work together to begin to address those issues. We've agreed on a framework. We've agreed on a process on how we can begin to address not just the immediate stuff, but also the issues, the long-standing issues. So we have a process that is now underway. We are in regular contact with both federal and provincial officials for us to begin to address the issues that why we issued that declaration in February. So I'm going to ask Regional Chief Day was also at that meeting, so maybe he can expand on some of the things that we discussed at that meeting.
Thank you, Grand Chief. Again, the meeting was very well attended. The response from both the federal and provincial governments clearly, were something we haven't seen in a long, long time. The former Conservative government, did not respond in that way. Why I say that, and what's most important to recognize here, is that as we've been under a 2% cap, and as we've seen funding cuts over the last decade, you will see a culmination of issues that have backed up. What we've not done is a full health economic assessment in terms of what's needed. That's clearly an area that this committee can help with and endorse and move forward, because you will find that it's not only systemic pieces, but there are some glaring areas that need immediate funding, as my colleagues suggest. I'll leave it at this, that what is also missing, again, we talk about the social determinants of health. Health is one file, but we can no longer deal with First Nation health in silos. We can no longer expect that the Ministry of Infrastructure or Economic Development or Education cannot have a fulsome discussion and dialogue and First Nations be part of that in order to determine a framework for the social determinants of health. Why I'm bringing forward to the committee today a framework that looks at the social determinants of health, a health and social policy framework. The last thing I'll say is that, again, bringing this to the committee because it's essential to ensure that we're effective, that we're economical, and that we're efficient with the time that's needed, because people are dying today. This is why you will see a memo to Cabinet come forward that speaks to the emergency health crisis of First Nations, not just in this region, not just in Ontario, but across Canada.
Thank you for that. How much time?